Connecticut. We've all heard the saying, it takes a village, but what if you feel like you don't have one?
Yeah, in today's Care is Curious, we're talking about how you can heal loneliness and create better relationships by trusting in your intuition to guide you. Joining us now is Florence Ann Romano. She's the author of Build Your Village, a guide to finding joy and community in every stage of life. Florence, thanks for being with us on Great Day.
Hi, ladies. So thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me.
You know, I think the older we get, when we're young, we have built-in friends, but there's so
Yeah.
many folks living disconnected, and loneliness is really, it's a health problem. Not only it's a mental health problem, but a physical health problem as well.
Right.
Well, we're living through a loneliness epidemic, a friendship recession, a mental health crisis. I mean, just adding on. And you're right. As we get older, it's not as easy to make friends. When you're younger, it seems like the world is your oyster and there's people everywhere to connect with. But that's not exactly what happens as time goes on. And it's about the quality of people, not the quantity. But even when you say that, people are like, yeah, okay, but this village of those quality people, where are they?
Mm.
People always joke about, do they just show up at your front door? Is there a phone number to call to find this village of people that everyone talks about? And the truth is, it takes effort, just like everything else in your life, to figure out where you're going to put your energy and your time and find people that are going to align with you. And a lot of that alignment is going to manifest physically. You're going to have a physical chemical reaction to people, and that's where the intuition part comes in.
Mm.
So what steps can someone take if they're feeling lonely? Because I know there was just a study about college-age students feeling lonely, as well as senior citizens feeling lonely. So for any demographic, what are some steps to take to help cure that loneliness? Where can we go?
Isn't it amazing to hear those two demographics that are so opposite in terms of the spectrum, that pendulum swings? And I understand, though, why both of those cohorts are feeling that. I think the pandemic changed a lot for us as well, and we're still feeling those effects 5 years on, where people, once they had to retreat into that shell, into that bubble during the pandemic, when it was time to come back out and connect, people kind of felt like they didn't know how to, and also that they didn't want to. It felt like too much effort.
Mm.
So the first thing I always tell people, if they're feeling isolated and they don't know what to do first, philanthropy. It's a way to put yourself out there and meet people, that something that's going to make your heart flutter, something that's going to resonate with you, but it's also going to put you in a social situation that isn't such high stakes for you socially,
Yeah.
where you're going to feel like I got to tap someone on the shoulder and be like, hey, you want to be my friend? You're already going to be somewhere where you are like-minded and you have similar values, and that's going to hopefully breed conversation and friendship from there. So the first step, if you are feeling that way, is to look outside of yourself and how you can serve and connect with people in that way.
Now, how do we determine the difference between our gut instinct and people pleasing?
I always say that I'm a recovering people pleaser, and I think we all will be for the rest of our lives. The issue with people pleasing is, as much as we want to be liked and we want people to say we're nice, we end up, when we do start to dive more deeply into that pleasing aspect, we become sometimes uh, that that place that people go to take advantage of kindness.
Mm.
And you want to make sure that in relationships, there is that reciprocal nature. And if you're just focusing on what you give to people because you're hoping that's going to get you accepted, you're hoping that's going to somehow validate you, then those aren't probably the right relationships for you. And you want to test that constantly in your life and your friendships. Are you the one that's constantly reaching out? Are you the one that's putting in the effort? Or when someone's phone, number comes up on your end and you roll your eyes and you go, oh gosh, now I got to answer this, or you get a text message from someone, what's going on there in that relationship that isn't possibly working. You have to evaluate your village in that way and say, are the right people in my life sitting in the right seats? And if they're not, then it's time to maybe fire some people or recast that village or move them into different seats where you're going to set them up for success. But the people pleasing aspect of it, it's very natural for us to do, but it also can be the most damaging thing that we lean into just naturally as human beings who want to be liked and loved.
I know we don't have a lot of time left, but very quickly, we were talking about loneliness, which is
Yeah.
sad and horrible, but sometimes it's okay to be alone. Do you have suggestions for that?
We want stillness every day, right?
There's a big difference between alone and lonely. Solitude is not necessarily a bad thing. Learning to enjoy your own company. And sometimes I also think that when we feel like we're losing control or spinning out, it's good to be still. There's a great saying that when you don't know what to do, be still and learn what to do in that wait, because there is wonder in that wait, and make it active, make it productive. Don't be afraid of that solitude. It's about the reframing of it.
I love it. And we're going to take a deeper dive on maybe how you can weed out your village or create a stronger village coming up on the Kara's Cures podcast. You can also read Florence's book, and that is Build Your Village. It's out on Amazon right now. And also you can find her at florenceann.com. We'll talk to you a little bit more on the podcast. And so download it wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Thanks, Florence.
Wow,
So good to see you. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you so much for all of that information. Okay.